Like the video and subscribe in the next 5 seconds or this spider will be crawling around in your bed tonight.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Uphill, and today we'll be looking at the most powerful wizards in the Harry Potter universe.
Before we begin, I just want to mention that I'll be giving away a $100 Amazon gift card. All you have to do to win is hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and comment the hidden word somewhere in the video.
No two wizards are created equal, and this means that each of them has a power level all their own. Although we meet many of them throughout the Harry Potter series, it's sometimes a little difficult to distinguish who's more powerful than who. Some may be adept at certain types of magic, while others have abilities that give them the edge. But when it comes down to it, who are the 10 most powerful wizards? Who would win above all others in a duel to the death? It took some thought, but we've established a list of the 10 most powerful in the Harry Potter series. Make sure to watch till the end, guys, to find out who's number one. Trust me, it may just shock you. So let's dive into the video. At number 10, we have Mad-Eye Moody. Harry Potter and his fans barely got to know the real Mad-Eye Moody. The most time spent with the legendary Auror was when he was being impersonated by Barty Crouch Jr. This doesn't change the fact that Moody was every bit deserving of his legendary status. Mad-Eye survived grievous injuries in his work as Auror, but he still put away a shocking number of dark wizards. In one of the most tumultuous times in wizarding history, Mad-Eye captured Igor Karkaroff, took the life of Evan Rozier, and helped to apprehend Bellatrix, Barty Crouch Jr., and Rodolphus Lestrange.
It was once my job to think as dark wizards do, Karkaroff, perhaps you remember.
Moody was such a threat that after Dumbledore's end, Voldemort saw him as the next most powerful wizard alive. It's for this reason that Voldemort viciously attacked and ended Moody, as Harry was being transported from Privet Drive. Of course, he was pretty old by the time we met him in the series, and he was caught off guard more than once, eventually resulting in his death. But we can only imagine what it would have been like to face off with him 10 years before the series began. At number 9, we have Bartimus Crouch Sr. Barty Crouch Sr. was very high up in the Ministry and had been in talks to become the next Minister for Magic. He spoke literally over 100 languages. He pushed to make it legal for Aurors to use unforgivable curses against the dark wizards they were trying to catch. He was ruthless and in many ways awful, but he was clearly a very powerful wizard. It's sad that we didn't get to see more of Barty Sr. in his prime. Much like Moody, he was beyond it by the time the books rolled around and caught off guard when it came to his death. Number 8 is Severus Snape. Harry might have forgiven Snape enough to name his second son after him. Snape, however, is a hard character to like, an even rougher one to root for and appreciate. Yet there's no denying that Snape was a terrifically accomplished wizard. Snape managed to create his own spells as a teenager. He found a way to improve upon and craft alternative methods of potion making while being a potion student. Snape was a genius. He just happened to also be a nasty, bigoted, and deeply selfish person. Of course, Snape's biggest feat is being able to completely convince Voldemort that he was his loyal servant. Snape fooled one of the world's greatest legilimens and managed to master magical techniques that Voldemort himself created with ease, such as flying without a broom. Snape is a purposely controversial character, but his magical prowess can't be undermined. At number 7, we have Credence Barebone. In terms of sheer magical power, Credence should rank much higher on this list. But as I understand it, although Credence is powerful, he lacks magical training. He was originally introduced to audience as a nomad who struggled to come to terms with the fact that he couldn't perform magical spells. However, little did we know that a great destiny awaited Barebone. Not only does he hold incredibly powerful magic within him, but he's actually part of the Dumbledore family as well. His spells would easily overpower almost everyone else, but someone with more training and experience could easily use legilimency on him and outmaneuver him. Actually, you probably don't even need legilimency, just really good reflexes. And you could probably incapacitate Credence before he even knew what was happening. At number 6 comes Godric Gryffindor. It's often forgotten that the Hogwarts founders are actually some of the most powerful wizards in history. They pulled together to design the magical school in order for their immense legacy to live on for many generations to come. Godric represented strength, courage, and compassion. He was incredibly well gifted with spells and charms, and it appears his house continues to replicate that strength and power years down the line. Salazar Slytherin comes in at number 5. Salazar Slytherin is perhaps more powerful than Godric due to the fact that he wasn't afraid to push his own limits and utilize some of the darker magic available to him. He had many abilities that are still uncommon amongst wizards today. He was a Parseltongue and took great pleasure in his ability to talk to snakes. He was powerful enough to create the Chamber of Secrets, trap a basilisk, and hide the evidence from the other founders. His legacy is one of darkness, yet strength. At number 4 is Merlin. Documents in the wizarding world suggest that Merlin was one of the most powerful wizards in human history. Merlin was actually a Slytherin at Hogwarts and demonstrated an amazing understanding of the magical arts. There are some that argue him to be the most powerful wizard of all time. He had a huge impact on the Muggle world, assisting King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and set up a number of organizations that existed long after his death. Number 3 is Gellert Grindelwald. Grindelwald isn't pure evil in the same way that his successor, Voldemort, ended up becoming. Grindelwald did have some measure of conscience and even tried to redeem himself at the very end of his life. However, this doesn't change the fact that before Voldemort, Grindelwald was the greatest dark wizard the world had ever seen. Sadly, inspired by his teenage friend Albus Dumbledore, Grindelwald believed that the strongest wizards should rule, not only over Muggles, but everyone. At the time of World War II, Grindelwald built an army for himself around the world, all of which had the goal of amassing as much power as possible under his control. Grindelwald grew so strong that it was impossible for all but one to beat him. Albus Dumbledore had to step up and defeat Grindelwald once and for all in 1945, although Dumbledore spared Grindelwald's life. Number 2 is Lord Voldemort. Voldemort is the personification of all evil in Harry Potter. Tom Riddle was a twisted sociopath, incapable of understanding and feeling love. From a very early age, Voldemort wanted to do nothing but lord over others and cause them pain, all of which he achieved in his unnaturally long life.
Harry Potter is dead.
Voldemort is the closest that any wizard has ever come to achieving immortality. He created not 1, but 7 Horcruxes. While that corrupted his soul, it made him almost invincible. Voldemort was so clever and devious that there were nearly 2 versions of himself running around at the same time. Furthermore, Voldemort was an expert in the dark arts. Hardly anyone was his dueling equal.
And now is the time to declare yourself.
He faced off against McGonagall, Slughorn, and Kingsley during the Battle of Hogwarts. The only thing that took him down was not paying enough attention to wand lore. And finally, at number 1 is Albus Dumbledore. Of course, there really should have been no doubt about who was going to top this list. Dumbledore is the obvious choice for the most powerful wizard in Harry Potter. He's also the only right choice.
Silence!
Dumbledore has a complicated history. He dabbled in the dark arts as a youth and struggled with power throughout his long life. Yet he was also one of the most brilliant minds of the wizarding world. Dumbledore took down Grindelwald at great personal cost. He was so formidable that he scared Voldemort, and of course, he invented 7 uses for dragon's blood. At least those are the stats from his chocolate frog card. A whole list could be made of just Dumbledore's achievements and awards because they're about as voluminous as his full name. Dumbledore does hit on the trope of the old wise wizard, but he's one of a kind in Harry Potter. Who do you feel is the greatest Harry Potter wizard or witch? Who would you consider the most powerful character in the Harry Potter universe? Sound off in the comments.